been around,
right? So that plane has an amazing history.
That's incredible.
And Vicki Benzing was able to buy that airplane a little over 4 years ago. It has just completed a 4-year restoration to its original racing configuration and color, and she is so proud to campaign it back here. In her partnership with the Vicki is a very big ambassador for future of aviation,
sure,
and especially women in aviation. She has a PhD in chemistry, if you can believe that. And she has partnered with the CAU University, California Aeronautical University, and that is painted on the side of that airplane as a tribute and part of her campaigning and partnering with them to inspire future generations of aviators.
I've never known an airplane with so much backstory. That's incredible. It's a shame FedEx didn't exist in 1964. They could have gotten rid of some of that purple paint.
Let me tell you one more really cool thing before we start. You see our T-33 Pace plane just about to depart. The artwork on that airplane is exactly like Clay Lacy had it, including the Snoopy on the tail. Look for that, fans, when it flies.
We will.
There's a guy named Mike Bowl who did that artwork. He was a teenager when he did it for Clay Lacy in 1964. Mike was hired last year to do the artwork again on that same airframe. So many cool stories. So many cool
there. 6 decades of history, just like this event.
Yep, absolutely. And there's history in all of these aircraft that sit beside that one. That's not the only one. But we've got a Russian fighter from World War II, the historic one there. You see our T-33, courtesy of Ace Maker Air Shows and Greg Collier, being flown by Steve Hinton Sr., and he will depart first in the T-33 jet. That's our Pace plane. And then, Tommy, let's look at our class as they depart here.
Well, yes, the yak is Miss Trinidad John Maloney of Lincoln, California. That's race 27. That's the top qualifier at 358 miles an hour. And there's the aforementioned plum crazy Vicki Benzing, a very versatile flyer. She's flown the jets here, the sport class as well, and now she's going for unlimited here. She's our second place qualifier, race 64.
Behind her, we'll see Brent Seghetti out of Vacaville, California, in race 44, the beautiful P-51 with the red nose. Race 44, he affectionately calls it Sparky.
Beautiful plane. We've watched that plane race so many times here. The green and gray one, that's Dan Vance, another plane we've seen many times. Speedball Alice here, P-51. Dan Vance from Bend, Oregon, that's race 31.
Yeah, beautiful airplane as he begins to depart there, and watch as you see the gear begin to fold on those aircraft, the P-51, as they fold up. Here you get to see another good look at our fifth place qualifier, Stephen Couches out of State Line, Nevada, in a race 43. Now, this is a P-51. It's an H model, Tommy. Now, you might say, I always hear about D. It looks just like the D models. Well, the H model was actually produced at the end of the war, and there were about 555 of them built, which they completed the run of P-51s. 15,000 P-51s built. Those were the last ones. Bigger engine, a little bit faster than the rest.
Well, this is going to be the gold class. This is Heat 1A for Unlimited. Our planes, you just saw them taking off right there. And, of course, they're going to do the customary route around behind the property here for several miles as they get lined up and ready to go here. So we will anxiously await their return to the property and drop down and start racing here on this course that's 6 laps and about 47 miles. So as they get that all straightened up and settled and squared away, we're going to take ourselves a quick break right now, and we'll be back and ready to race. Our tremendous, breathtaking backdrop for 6 decades of action in this one-of-a-kind sporting event. There you see what's happening above and behind our racing platform here. And so the Unlimiteds, these are the gold class of Unlimiteds, top class, the fastest class. Their customary route around to get fully lined up, sorted out, and ready to go, ready to step down and start racing. Just moments away here.
Now, Tommy, you see our T-33 Pace plane flown by Steve Hinton Sr. Nothing wrong with that airplane. That's air show smoke that's coming out of there. So nothing wrong. The engine's working fine. He does that so the crowd can see kind of where they are as they're forming up. It also helps the pilots as they've departed. It takes them a little bit to get kind of caught up, if you will. So the smoke helps everybody see where the formation lead is, if you will. So that's what you're seeing, the smoke there.
It's not a contrail. It's not something.
It's not a contrail.
It's not something that's going to hurt you.
That's exactly right.
It's helpful.
And there you see he turned it off, and all that really is there's a tank of smoke oil. It's a paraffin oil that gets dumped into the hot section of the engine, and it smokes. You'll see that same smoke on most any air show, whether it's a piston or jet aircraft, it's the same thing. Smoke oil gets dumped in there, but it has a purpose here to help them join up. So as they continue to circle back behind the crowd, from this camera shot, they'd be behind your right shoulder, if you will, back behind Peavine Mountain. They're going to be circling around back there to get formed up, and like all our other fast classes, the unlimited class here is going to fly on our large 8-mile, large outer course, if you will. They will come down lined up, side by side, line abreast. You'll hear on the radio, we'll get to hear Steve Hinton Sr. talk to the aircraft as he's moving them. He'll have them move up, move back, and what he's trying to do is get them lined up all side by side, wing abreast, line abreast, and they'll come down what we call the chute. They got to stay in their lane all the way down, and then we'll be off and running. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. We'll show you what the course looks like. But there's a shot of Peavine Mountain back behind us, and he has the smoke on.
Yeah.
So we are very close now, Tommy, so we'll listen carefully to the radio. And we'll hear the pace plane begin to talk to the aircraft, adjusting them. But the smoke on tells you that they are basically lined up, headed in on what would be a final approach course to the chute. So we're about ready to get going. Remember, the aircraft, once they have a race, you'll hear, gentlemen, you have a race. Pace plane will pull up and out, and then aircraft can accelerate. They can move out in front of each other. They just can't turn until they get to the guide pylon up there in the foothills. So we're about there, Tommy, where you can see now the aircraft are descending, and that is the point where they begin to accelerate and stay line abreast, and you'll hear that on the radio here in just a second from Steve Hinton Sr.
Make out the shapes of the airplanes now. We have 5 airplanes in this race here. We've got a Yak 3. We've got a crazy history, plumb crazy P-51 Mustang. We got some more P-51 Mustangs. Just a great lineup here.
Yeah, 4 P-51s. The 1H model will be far to your left from this view in 5th place, in the 5th qualifying place. That is the newest of the
Well, Richard, you look good, ladies and gentlemen. You got a race.
There it is, Tommy. We're racing. And there you see the T-33 jet pull up and away, and our 5 racers are coming right into your living room. Here's our camera is out at the pylon in the foothills. They're about to come over. So, Tommy, let's lay out and let all 5 of these aircraft blow by with these spectacular 12-cylinder motors. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. This is the gold pairing of unlimited racing.
Just about ready to top the hill. There they are. John Maloney, race 27, out in front. That's the pole position. Second position, Vicky Benzing hanging in there in that spot. Very close as it stands right now, early on in our 6 laps.
Yeah, the iconic yellow spinner on the Miss Trinidad, on the Russian Yak, World War II fighter, and the P-51. These aircraft were actually on the same side of the war during World War II.
Yeah, that's right.
Which a lot of folks alive today may not exactly think about, that we were allies with the
true.
Russians at one point, but we were. And here you see the Russian fighter, the Yak 3 leading the field here. Vicky Benzing in the iconic Plum Crazy coming up right behind, but there is a beautiful look at the bottom of that airplane with the red stars on the side of it.
Past the start-finish pylon and into lap number 2 goes John Maloney, race 27, with the lead. Qualified 358 miles an hour here in this unlimited gold class.
He qualified just about 1 mile an hour faster than Vicky Benzing in the second place. And you can see her there on the right side of your screen as they come to the guide pylon and make their way around. So it's early in the race. We're on lap 2, about halfway through lap 2. Vicky appears to be just kind of pacing the Yak 3 at this point. So I don't know if she has something in reserve that we'll see later.
We'll find out.
But right now they're all kind of getting their feet wet. But man, it is so astounding to me to see that purple airplane here, knowing that it flew the very first race in 1964 on this very course.
That's really mind-boggling when you think about it. What a perfect day here in the desert. Super clear. No smoke, no rain.
You get a good look at some of our other competitors a little bit back there as they come around. Here comes Vicky Benzing. There she is, just going through the top. And this is right behind her, Sparky. And then right behind that, Dan Vance. There's Sparky right there with the red nose, the invasion stripe on the fuselage as he comes by. And there's Vicki Benzing and Plum Crazy in second place right now, Tommy. She's navigating this course here at Reno. Just historic to see that aircraft back here again.
Already into our third lap, approaching the halfway point of this race. Lost a little bit of ground in the last lap. John Maloney in race number 27.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the Russian fighter is pulling away a little bit, but here you get a great look as Vicky's on the far north end of our largest course. She's making her way around. She'll soon be dropping into the Valley of Speed. You'll see the aircraft begin to roll to the right. The right wing will go down, left wing will come up as she rolls out of this turn and begins to convert, unload the G off the aircraft. That lets the aircraft accelerate fully, and now it's going to take full advantage of that max power setting. Now, in these complex unlimited airplanes, Tommy, they're managing manifold pressure, they're managing RPM. It's not like we talked earlier with the jets where you kind of set the throttle and just fly.
Forget it. No,
there's a whole lot of stuff going on in these big V12 engines that continually has to change. Mixture, manifold pressure, all of it. And here you see our racers doing a spectacular job.
She's in pursuit of that plane right there, that Yak-3. Russian airplane, fighter plane.
John Maloney, Lincoln, California. Just an iconic look at that beautiful airplane. And he had the pole position and has not been able to do anything but just run away.
Oh, yeah.
He's not pulling away, but look at him there as he comes through the foothills. I mean, just what a beautiful paint scheme with that camouflage on it. Just imagine that aircraft during World War II being flown. Interesting, we talked a little bit about the French flew those as well. But I think we got a little bit tighter race back in third and fourth that we're going to jump back to here in just a second. And here they come as we're back at the guide pylon. The red nose on this airplane, that's race 44, Brent Getty. And Sparky going by here, you see kind of coming by. Oh, here we go. This is back a little bit farther. That's Steve Couches in the P-51H. Looks like he's inside of Dan Vance in race 31 and Speedball Alice, now the pass completed.
Yeah, so a little bit of a development there at the back half of the race as we come in here.
So they're, again, back on that far north end of the course. You can watch where they roll out will tell you where they are relative to the Valley of Speed there. And you can see both aircraft just about the same rollout rate. So it looks like that the silver P-51H of race 43 in front. And now we jump back to our leader, Tommy.
John Maloney in the Yak-3, race 27. Absolutely running it according to plan here, I would think. The plane looks good for its age, let's put it that way, huh?
Boy, it does. You know, just the spectacular, historic aircraft that we're seeing flying here demonstrated not only history of racing here at Reno, but just aviation history in general. And all of these folks understand, as we all do in the aviation industry, we're just current stewards of these pieces of history and able to bring the history in the museum to you here in this format. We're so excited to see them race here. Look at that, 50 feet right above the desert floor, right above the sagebrush, approaching 370 miles an hour likely as he heads down the Valley of Speed, coming around our final pylon, 7, 8, and 9, making his way back towards the home pylon here, completing lap number 4.
It's a perfect ride so far for John Maloney of Lincoln, California. Really, really strong at this point in the proceedings. White flag lap, final lap coming up. Making quick work of it.
Yeah, he is. So we're well into the final lap here as he heads back north. Here's Vicki Benzing in the iconic Plum Crazy, race 64 that Clay Lacey campaigned here for so many times. That airplane won the national champion in 1970. There's our leader, Tommy. As he comes through the foothills, makes his way back to the far north end of our largest race course here. So as he makes the turn in the far north end, right behind him, you see Vicki Benzing now approaching the guide pylon. Great view. Let's listen to her go by. Oh, that is just something. And there's our leader. He's coming out of the Valley of Speed, starting that left turn around pylons 7, 8, and 9. Tommy, it looks to be in the bag unless something miraculous happens here that he's going to be able to pull off the unofficial first place finish here coming to the checkered flag.
That's right. All he's got to do is put the finishing touches on this one. A near perfect run for John Maloney in race 27, checkered flag, and he is going to be your unofficial winner. Heat 1A.
And look here, Tommy, here's Vicky Bensing down low trying to get everything she can out of that purple and very historic P51 D model. And as she makes the turn here in Plum Crazy, this is a historic moment, ladies and gentlemen, for this aircraft to finish this heat race here at Reno.
6 decades ago it raced out here in Desert Reno. Hard to imagine, but man, still going. You don't see that in any other sport.
No, not at all. Now here we have this aircraft coming, just coming out of the Valley of Speed here and completing these final turns around the final pylons as he goes around.
How about a big wave as Brent Sigeti going by?
Sparky right there, finishing in 3rd place unofficially.
And this should be Dan Vance in race 31 with the invasion stripes on it here. Another great looking P51. Red and yellow nose cone.
Speedball Alice in 4th place. And leading the racetrack. There's one remaining on the course. It's going to be Stephen Couches, Nevada native there, to finish it up here.
So here we are back at the start, Tommy. They're coming out of the chute as they head to the guide pylon. You can see John Maloney in the iconic Russian Yak 3 on the pole. Vicky Bensing right there beside him as they make that first turn. They're right above you as we're our great camera shot from the foothills. But John Maloney was able to take Miss Trinidad, the Yak 3, out to the lead and then never gave it up. Yep. He had it from flag to flag, pole to pole, and right behind him with the iconic red nose and the yellow tail. That's Brent Sigeti and Sparky in the race here. Landed in 3rd, pretty much stayed there the whole time, as did that aircraft right there. Race 64, Vicky Bensing and Plum Crazy. Beautiful exposition here, but there was our leader. It got out front, stayed out front, the amazing green and brown camo for that Russian fighter. Now, we did have some action at the back of the pack, and this is Stephen Couches in the race 43, passing Dan Vance and Speedball Alice. And they ended up coming through there, and here we see at the end with the yellow nose coming across. That is our leader as he comes back to the checkered flag, Tommy.
Taking that one, just effortlessly getting it done. 2 really remarkable Unlimiteds here, finishing 1 and 2. It's been a real pleasure to watch them in action. Wow, hope you enjoyed that. And there's your unofficial results here. John Maloney, Miss Trinidad, race 27, 1st place. Vicky Benson, 64, Plum Crazy. Stephen Couches, race number 43, finishing in 3rd place. Speedball Alice, familiar in the unlimited racing circles here. Race 31, Dan Vance in 4th place. And Brent Sigeti, number 44 in Sparky. So great to have you with us, and that is Unlimited Heat 1A.